Hello and welcome to the latest update for One Time, in which I will talk about the feedback from the survey that I forced down your throats a month or so ago. Good stuff. Overall, I'd say that the results of this survey was reassuring as well as revelatory in a lot of ways. Thank you guys for bearing with me as I already made this video and then I had bad computer problems, and I also don't have fantastic capturing software, so please deal with the plane that's going to come by every 5 minutes or so because I live near an airport. We have 153 responses to this thing, which is a thing I really love. It's about 10% of the audience of the One Time channel. Yeah, it's based on the number of subscribers of this channel. So let's get started. How many episodes have you seen of One Time? It's pretty neat to see that 80% of those who took this survey have already watched all of the episodes, or that they're pretty connected with this project in the viewership. That's really great. A part of me wonders how accurate these answers are, if it's just people saying, I'm really psyched about this project. I say that because later in the survey, you'll see that I asked for recommendations of YouTubers to be on One Time, and a good number of you that have seen all of the episodes are recommending YouTubers that I've already featured. So this might be more telling of the impact of the stories they tell as opposed to the honesty of the survey people, and that's the risk you face when a lot of the stories on this project are more lighthearted and less serious, which is a challenge you face when stories are shorter and such. We will discuss more about this later. How would you describe your part in the YouTuberverse? 47% said a viewer/fan, which was a little surprising to me, although it shouldn't have been. In comparison to Hank Green's most recent Nerdfighter census, 80% of their audience does not make YouTube videos. I thought maybe since I was smaller and a bit more community-oriented with the smaller people, that percentage would be smaller. But on hindsight, the amount of audience being creators or contributors to the community is pretty great. Not like it's a bad thing that you're just a casual viewer. I just personally relate to the creator type more because I've been doing this, oh God, 8 years? No, 7. I don't know. People that said they were other were mostly past creators who just contribute in the comment section or tweets or whatever these days, casual creators, those kinds of things. Let's dig into the content of One Time. How do you feel about the prompts/themes given to the storytellers in each episode so far? This is a question that I could have worded completely differently. It's hard not to just ask, this project, is it entertaining? 68% think that the prompts are diverse, which doesn't mean they're saying that they like them, but I'm glad they're getting a varied experience in prompts and they keep coming back. And I appreciate the honest 29% of you. And this should have been where I clarified a bit more, because it's hard to tell if they're responding to my prompts or the stories themselves. Anywho, I had 2 others. One made a point in saying that the prompts were broad in a good way, so it allowed storytellers to come up with their own interpretations. And at the same time, another viewer said that after a while they all seemed the same. So maybe throwing in some more pointed props that have a clear direction in the mix will break it up. I had been doing that most recently in the last couple of episodes of One Time. I hope you guys noticed. What are your thoughts on the prompt not being revealed until the end of the episode? 63% say it's a fun game to play with the audience, and 10% don't like it. This is the first example of experimentation for this channel that I've talked about in this survey. Traditionally, at public storytelling events, you know the theme of the night from the get-go. That totally makes sense because you have patrons buying tickets most of the time for these events. They need to know what they're getting into before bringing out the wallet. With free projects like this, the element of surprise is a pretty useful one. But sometimes, when a video is coming together, it doesn't feel right to play a guessing game with the audience. For instance, in the last episode of One Time, where I asked Nancy from Nancy Reads to tell me just any story, and then I sent a private link to Taylor, the next person in line, that story, and then I asked her to film her first story reaction to that, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah, that is an example of when a video comes together, it doesn't feel right to play that guessing game. It becomes quite apparent in some of the episodes, like that one. But then you have this rhythm that feels right technically and in the format, but doesn't really lend to the arc. You know, sometimes I don't even want to explain the prompt because it explains itself. But when the use of the prompt at the end is very effective, you guys like it a lot. So I'm kind of toying with the idea of this being inconsistent. So what do you think? I had quite a few people write in the other section. Someone called it valuable, not just a fun game, which is interesting. I am still having trouble defining that term of valuable in the process. I had quite a few say that the title makes it easy to guess the prompt, which I'm kind of okay with. I mean, I would rather give it away than the title to mislead the audience into the kinds of stories you'll be watching. Someone said that the title is enough. I don't know. What do you think? Like, seriously, tell me. I might have to make a list and a doobly-doo of all the questions that I'm asking. What can you do? Length of episode, 53% say that they like the length as it is, and 36% say they would love longer episodes. That is awesome. I have really been wanting to limit the storytellers less on the length of their stories. Full disclosure, I tell them that usually 45 to 90 seconds is an ideal length because I was not sure if One Time's particular audience would stick around for longer episodes. I know that video attention spans are getting longer and longer, but I wasn't sure if that applied to this project. Now I can confidently ask for longer stories and even dedicate episodes of One Time for 1 to 2 people with long stories. Yes. Now let's discuss the storytellers. Rate your level of satisfaction of overall diversity of storytellers on One Time. My highest average was a 4 out of 5 from half of the people that took the survey. Now, I actually want to talk about this for a second. I gave myself personal ratings for this section, and it was interesting how to see how they did or did not match up. I gave myself a 2.5 out of 5, a 3 on some days, and I'm looking forward to be able to give myself a 4. The first episode of One Time came out in late March of 2014 when the news of the abuse from some of our favorite video makers broke out, and I was physically and mentally unable to make a video or talk about it candidly, but I did want to help somehow. And you know, I wasn't able to pinpoint this thought process until a couple of months ago, but I wanted to remind myself of the reason that I stuck in this community for so long. It was also kind of a mix of, I wonder if I asked people to talk about this, I wonder what they would say. It wasn't really until after I put up the first video, that I realized that this could be a series. And I didn't realize until after episode 4 or so that this could be a way to introduce viewers to new YouTubers. This wasn't a planned out thing. I didn't have 3 months or 6 months or a year to prepare for this project, to research to find new people. I kind of had to do that along the way and utilize being around on YouTube for so long as ways to find new storytellers. This is why I also ask for recommendations so often. In the same vein, I also don't have 20 hours a week to dedicate myself to the project currently. To give background, in the last few months, I've moved to give some personal background. In the last few months, I moved to a new city, was on a job hunt. I worked 60-hour weeks just to make rent. And now that things are coming down around here, I am super excited to be able to dedicate a few more hours a week to this project, primarily by digging through the corners of YouTube to find you guys some new creators. In the meantime, I'm always welcome to new suggestions. One more thing I have to note before I move on is that I will probably never give myself a 5 out of 5 because an episode of One Time will never be perfectly diverse for everyone. And as important as it is, my number one priority is getting good stories told. Onward! Race representation on One Time, we have a majority tie between a 3 and a 4. I would have given myself a 2.5 again. I realized while piecing through the first few episodes, most non-white YouTubers I watched were particularly famous, and most of the YouTubers with most subscribers, white or non-white, would never respond when I reached out. It was kind of sad. I wasted too many hours on trying to get their attention instead of researching for more non-white YouTubers that had smaller subscriber ranges. That was really dumb on my part, and please know that I focus a lot of my time looking for new non-white YouTubers to feature that are in the smaller subscriber range. I'm working on it, I promise. One comment that was on the survey that I do want to address was from someone saying that I was using people of color to fulfill a quota, which I gotta be honest hurt my feelings and is an attitude towards me that I won't tolerate. Cool, moving on. Gender representation on One Time. I would have given myself a 3.5, and it looks like there was more satisfaction on this one than the others of this section. It's true that this series is a lot less cis male dominated, and women that watch it probably find that refreshing. But I would like to improve on featuring some transgender YouTubers or non-binary YouTubers. And sometimes that's difficult because, believe it or not, some creators don't find their gender identity essential to their content they produce, so they don't tell people what their gender is. So if you know any more gender fluid YouTubers or non-binary YouTubers or more transgender YouTubers, I have a few lined up for the next few episodes of One Time, but I would love to have more. So please leave them in the comments below. Same goes for sexual or romantic identity. Some YouTubers are not out to their audiences or don't speak of their sexuality all that much. I'm not going to label someone they haven't labeled themselves. And yes, I would agree with this loud, resounding 3. I need to continue to work on my list here. So preferably non-white gay men. That's probably what I'm looking for these days. Oh man, I'm so excited for when I can just finally be able to take an hour every day just to look to people. That will be nice. Smaller YouTuber representation. The amount of dissatisfaction of smaller YouTuber representation surprised me a lot. 8 people are just like, no, you don't have any small people, which I guess can be skewed of what your definition of small is. For me, small is 10,000 or less. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said 3,000. Anyway, one of the reasons I like reaching out to larger YouTubers is so I can give someone with a smaller following that's featured on this channel an even greater chance of growing with the 1,500 or so subscribers I have now. This doesn't always happen that way, but if there's an opportunity that presents itself, I love to bring it to the table. That being said, over the Thanksgiving holiday, I added over 100 YouTubers with over 1,000 subscribers to my growing list of future storytellers. So trust me, you'll be seeing more smaller channels soon. Other types of representation I really should have made rating scales for and just told y'all to give me straight ones on were age representation and nationality representation. I knew that coming in as I was creating the survey, and I was waiting to see how many people would bring it up, and I was so glad to see that there were so many people, that there were a lot of viewers, even younger viewers, asking for older storytellers. I really need help in that area. I watched so many older vloggers in the days of YouTube and learned so much through their discussions. So it's imperative that they're around on this channel. Also, people that aren't American or Canadian or English should probably have a bigger branch on the One Time tree. Yes, honestly, if you know of a YouTuber that isn't a white American between the ages of 13 to 25 and would be great storytellers, seriously send them my way. That would be fantastic. Can you list some niche communities that you would like to see more represented on One Time? I had a lot of various answers here, mostly booktubers though, which kind of lets me know what kind of community that I have dabbled in. More disabled YouTubers, very much so. If anybody has any recommendations, please send me some. Gamers, health, fitness, extreme sports, inner city, that's a good idea. I really want to dabble into daily vloggers. I got some examples of YouTubers here, maybe some YouTubers from the UK. For example, Zoella. I'm pretty sure she's a little busy. A lot of people said to branch outside of the nerd fighter community, which was interesting. A lot of people that I put on this channel, I haven't really considered nerd fighteria as their core kind of community. But I guess if you just like John and Hank, I guess you're a nerd fighter. Please expand on how I should further develop the diversity of one-time storytellers. I'm not going to get into all of these because there are so many various results. There are a lot of people a lot of people said that One Time's diverse already and you don't need to be so stressed out about it, which, you know, I respectfully disagree. Oh boy. Email a lot of YouTubers about One Time and see who gets back to you. Oh boy. Fun fact, for every storyteller that you see on One Time, I have 3 people that never respond. So there you go. I do want to talk about this comment right here because I saw many variations on the same thing. So maybe spend an episode talking about diversity, like an episode to talk about people's racism stories, and an episode for sexuality stories that would include more diversity. You could also do catcalling, sexism, etc. I talked about this idea with many types of people, and I bet that it's a surefire way to bring more diverse storytellers to the channel. But I had such a hard time saying that that was a kind of video that fit with One Time. And I felt kind of shitty saying that. But one of my friends said it perfectly. I recognize the necessity of that type of video. Trust me, I do. But that doesn't mean that I'm supposed to be the one making it. In the meantime, what I want to do is to make every storyteller feel comfortable with any type of story they want to tell that fits the themes. It doesn't have to be a lighthearted, funny type of video, not at all. With a less strict time frame and much more conversation started on my end, I think we'll see more of that. So more stories like this, I'm hoping will develop through the cracks without me having to dedicate a specific episode to it. Now let's move on to the final section and talk about the channel in general. Thoughts on frequency of episodes? Absolutely nobody hates the show so much that they want to see less. That is good stuff. This was mostly to see if weekly episodes of One Time would be received well if I were able to do them. So this chart is pretty self-assuring to me. The people that expanded in the other category said mostly more episodes would be great, but only do what you can handle, which is really sweet. I have a feeling a lot of the people that said keep the same number have a similar sentiment. They just want to make sure that I'm okay and not slaving away over this thing. Currently, open calls are pretty sporadic. Thoughts on frequency of open calls? In my dream world, if I were to have weekly episodes of One Time, I would want 1 week each month dedicated to an open call. That would be fantastic. Until I can do that, I think every 4th episode being an open call is something that I would like to implement. It reflects the feedback, I think. It feels sporadic, but it is actually a regular pace. Cool. Do attending storytelling circle events like the ones I hosted at VidCon and in Washington, D.C. interests you? Most said yes, but were sad or worried that they were too far away. It was actually split down the middle here. To be honest, I haven't made a lot of sense out of this. I still want to keep doing storytelling circles at VidCon and other YouTube events, but it's not as central to this project currently as it could be in the future. Ooh. What kind of perks would you like to see on our Patreon page? I was really hoping for some good responses here because I'm struggling a little bit. Right now, some of the perks are seeing content before anyone else, behind the scenes blogs, just explaining the different prompts of One Time, Google Hangout storytelling sessions for people to practice and learn more. Yeah, that's a good idea. A part of me would like to have an expert come on. I that's certified or something. I'm not really certified, but I do know how to tell a story in this video sphere. So maybe. Pins. I'm a sucker for pins. I'm currently working on a new design for One Time. So once that changes up, I might add some more physical, tangible elements to stuff, maybe. Extra footage is along the lines of what I wanted to contribute more. In the last year, I've been wanting to add more extra footage or more of the open call stuff, but things got crazy here. I just couldn't make more videos. But now I'll be able to do that, which is awesome. Virtual storytelling circle. That's a good idea. Ooh. You get to pick the theme of an episode or get to be in one. Picking the theme of an episode is already a perk. So there you go. Would you prefer that One Time had a social media presence outside of Leslie's social media pages? As you can see, most people liked everything together or don't want to put too much pressure on me. This is a time where I say, sorry, but I'm going to disagree with the majority of you. And much like the beginning when One Time videos were on the Leslie Found Her Grail channel, I wanted to start something separate so this project can live on its own and maybe grow even more and not be held back by my personality. Also, I just want my Twitter back so I can talk about theater and online video and being a person. Good stuff. Okay, y'all, give me up to 5 recommendations of YouTubers that should be on One Time. A lot of the people are people that I've either already asked and never responded, or people that I've already used. So like Morgan Page Loves, the Heavy Blanks, I've already used them. Well, I do know the majority of YouTubers that are listed on here because I've just been on here for so long. I found some new people, like Oh Hey is Diamondator. Yeah, she's going to be in an episode soon. I'm so excited to have her on. She has 200 subscribers. She needs more than that. So many people said The Third Pew, but he doesn't do collabs. And Morgan Page Loves, she was on the first episode. Anything else you'd like to add? I got a lot of love here. This made me really happy to see. One Time is unique and creative, and I thoroughly watch enjoying them. Thanks. You're awesome, Leslie, and I love this project. Thank you. Yay! More women. Yeah! So I just had some demographic questions on the end. Most of you are white, under the age of 30. You are cis female, but your romantic and sexual orientation was a lot more fluid here. I thought it was very interesting. I was interested to see what people identified as. It was cool. And that is pretty much it. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching this entire presentation if you already have. I can't wait to look at the retention rate. After 2 minutes, it's just going to go down. If you have any questions for me or if you have any responses to the response, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear more about what you guys think. Follow us on Twitter at One Time Series. There I discuss many things in the storytelling world, such as storytelling inspirations, links to other storytelling projects, links to other events and things. Also things that are One Time related. Like I ask randomly for your favorite YouTube recommendations for a specific group. That's cool. And they will be the first to hear about stuff that's happening in the One Time world. Anyway, thank you so much again for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.